Namaste. This video is made for the students of grade 12 who are preparing for their final examination, and today through this video I want to make clear about the summary of a poem, Traveling to the Dark, written by William Stafford. The poem Traveling to the Dark depicts the internal conflict between the mind, a sense of responsibility, and heart, the compassion of the narrator. At the same time, through the symbolic dark of the title, the poet is able to portray that the growing affinity of human with machine is tempting them to collide with the nature, a collision which will be threatening for all the living species on the planet, not only a dove. On a dark night, the narrator was driving his car on a Wilson River road. At the edge of the river, he found a dead deer. His common sense told him to roll the deer into the gorge because the road was narrow and a slight carelessness might call for more accidents. He stopped his car and went near to it. It was a doe and had been dead, but when he dragged it, he found that it was pregnant. When he observed its belly closely, he sensed that the fawn inside it must be alive, but he also knew that it could not be burned. The tragic fate of the fawn made him emotional. It was difficult for him to throw the dead body into the gorge because it would kill the baby instantly. His dilemma and inactness blocked the street. He listened to the people getting restless, as everybody was in a hurry to go. They immediately wanted the road to be opened. The narrator thought very deeply and concluded that it wasn't practical to leave the dead body of the doe on the street. It could make more accidents. Therefore, he threw it into the gorge and chose to perform his duty. So let's also have the short discussion about some important questions that you may be asked in your final examination. Question number 1. Explain the title of the poem and who are all those traveling through the dark. By the title, we know the speaker is driving a motor in the dark. He travels through the heights and along the jungle. He is a nature lover. They are all nature lovers and naturalists who travel through the dark. The road is narrow, indicates that the speaker is in jungle by the side of river, not in the highway. Question number 2. So, how the action develops stanza by stanza? Answer. The poem has 5 stanzas and each stanza is interrelated. In the first stanza, the speaker finds a dead deer on the way and pulls it to the side. In the second stanza, he gets down the car and sees a deer kill immediately. It is stiff and cold. He pulls it up. In the third stanza, the speaker doesn't act but thinks seriously about the living fawn inside the belly of the deer. In the fourth stanza, he explains the sounds of machine in the car in the isolated place. And in the last stanza, he pushes the deer into the river. Question number 3. At what point does the physical action cease to be replaced by another kind? Answer. In the third stanza, the physical action ceases and mental actions begins. The speaker feels the warm belly of the dead doe and seriously thinks about the future of the fawn and imagines different things about it. Question number 4. How do the last 2 lines complete both types of actions? Answer. The last 2 lines complete both physical and mental activities. The first line of the last stanza shows mental activity and the speaker thinks about the living creature and nature. But the last 2 lines describes the physical activity of the speaker and he pulls the doe into the river. Both activities end. Question number 5. What is the meaning of the last 2 lines of the poem? Does the poem moralize? The last 2 lines in the poem means there is a problem in the environment and problem of life. The life problem can't be corrected because the doe is already killed, which is bitter reality. The dead body can pollute the environment and the speaker has morality to last the duality of life and to keep environment clean. So he completes his duty. Question number 6. Do you think the reference to the alive but never to be born fond sentimental? Answer: yes, of course. The poet tries to make the poem sentimental and he opens the reality of the life of the fun. They are made, but dead without birth in the earth. It is bitter reality. What is the tone of the poem? Either ironical, sympathetic, and indifferent. It's one of the important questions, so it's the last question here as well. What is the tone of the poem? Either it is ironical, sympathetic, and indifferent. The answer goes like this. The tone of the poem is ironical. At first, the poet shows sympathy on the fern, but at last he ends the life of the fern. The poet seems nature lover but kills the doe and its unborn kid. The reader shows love to the fern but not to the doe. So in conclusion, the poem has ironical tone although there is sympathy and fun. Thank you. I hope this audio might be somewhat helpful for the students who are preparing for a final examination in terms of your chapter Traveling Through the Dark from the book Heritage of Words.